Time is the most valuable resource you have, yet it's the one resource people often squander without a second thought. Unlike money, which can be earned, or opportunities, which can sometimes be revisited, time is irreversible. Once it's gone forever. That's why the difference between success and stagnation often comes down to how effectively you manage and utilize the hours you're given each day. The truly successful understand this truth deeply. They know that wasting time isn't just a matter of lost productivity. It's a forfeiture of potential, a denial of the growth, achievement, and fulfillment that could have been. Wasting time doesn't always look like laziness or procrastination. Often, it's more subtle. It can take the form of doing things that keep you busy, but not effective. It can manifest as indecision, distractions, or habits that drain your energy without delivering value. The real challenge is learning to recognize these patterns in your own life and replacing them with habits that propel you forward. Winning with time is not about cramming every second of your day with activity. It's about intentionality. It's about knowing what truly matters and dedicating your energy to those pursuits while cutting away the rest. When you begin to respect your time, you start to respect your potential. And when you combine respect with deliberate action, you create a life of purpose and momentum. The first way to stop wasting time and start winning is to get brutally honest about where your time is going. Many people go through their days unaware of how much time they're spending on low-value tasks. They assume they're productive because they're busy, but busyness is not the same as effectiveness. Successful people take the time to audit their days, scrutinizing their routines to identify where they're truly adding value and where they're simply spinning their wheels. This starts with tracking your time. For at least a week, record every activity you do, from the moment you wake up to the time you go to bed. Be detailed and specific. Write down how long you spend on each task. At first, this process might feel tedious, but it's essential to understanding your current habits. Without data, it's impossible to make informed changes. Once you have a clear picture of how you're spending your time, ask yourself some tough questions. Which activities are moving you closer to your goals? Which ones are draining your energy without contributing to your growth? Which tasks could be delegated, streamlined, or eliminated altogether? The goal is to identify patterns of inefficiency and address them with purpose. If you notice that you're spending hours every day reacting to other people's priorities, whatever they are, you might need to set stricter boundaries around your time. Success doesn't come from being available to everyone at all times. It comes from being fiercely protective of your focus. Another common time waster is indecision. When you spend too much time deliberating over minor choices, you rob yourself of the energy needed for bigger, more impactful decisions. To combat this, create systems and rules that simplify your decision-making. Set limits on how long you'll spend evaluating options, or pre-decide routine matters so you can save mental bandwidth for what truly matters. Distractions are another significant drain on time, and they come in many forms. External distractions like interruptions from others can be minimized by setting boundaries and communicating your need for focused time. Internal distractions like the temptation to check a device or jump from one task to another require building discipline and practicing mindfulness. Recognize the triggers that lead you to lose focus and take steps to eliminate them. The key to this practice is honesty. It's not enough to assume you're managing your time well. You have to examine the evidence and be willing to make changes. This means letting go of excuses and confronting habits that aren't serving you. It might mean stepping outside your comfort zone, saying no to commitments that don't align with your goals, or rethinking how you approach your workday. At the core of this principle is the understanding that time is finite. Every hour you spend on something meaningless is an hour you've taken away from something that could change your life. By becoming aware of where your time is going and making deliberate choices about how to use it, you shift from wasting time to winning with it. When you do this consistently, the results are transformative. Next, the second way to stop wasting time and start winning is to master the art of prioritization. You see, time is a precious resource, and once it's spent, you can never get it back. It's not about managing time, it's about managing yourself within the time you're given. And successful people know this. Not everything deserves your time, your energy, or your attention. They focus on what matters most, and they let the rest fall away. Prioritization starts with clarity. If you don't know where you're going, how can you expect to get there? It's like sailing without a map. You'll drift wherever the wind blows. But when you take the time to define your goals, something magical happens. Suddenly, your path becomes clear. You're no longer chasing everything. You're moving toward something. And when your purpose is clear, distractions lose their power. Here's the key. Successful people don't confuse movement with progress. Activity is not the same as accomplishment. It's easy to fill your day with tasks, answering emails, attending endless meetings, checking things off a list. But at the end of the day, the question is, did those tasks move you closer to your goal, or were they just busy work? Be honest with yourself. The clock is ticking, and every moment spent on what doesn't matter is a moment stolen from what does. There's a principle I learned early on. Major in the majors, not the minors. Too many people spend their days on minor things, things that don't change the game. Successful people focus on the majors. They ask what the one thing is they can do today that will have the biggest impact on their future. That's prioritization. It's about cutting through the noise and zeroing in on the actions that matter most. Prioritization isn't just about doing, it's about sequencing. Timing matters. You've got to know what needs to be done first, second, and third. You wouldn't plant seeds and then water them a week later, would you? No, you follow the natural order. The same is true with your work. Know what needs your attention now and what can wait. Some tasks are urgent, but others are important. And the truth is, the important things are rarely urgent, and the urgent things are rarely important. The trick is to guard your time fiercely. Imagine your time is a jar and your priorities are the big rocks. If you fill the jar with sand, emails, minor tasks, distractions, there's no room for the rocks. But if you place the rocks in first, the sand will fit around them. Successful people put their big rocks in first. They plan their day around what matters most, not what's most pressing. And here's a powerful question to ask yourself each day. If I could only accomplish one thing today, what would it be? Just one thing. If everything else fell away, what's the one thing that would make the biggest difference? Answer that question honestly, and you'll know where to start. Then, protect that time. Turn off the distractions. Say no to interruptions. Give that task your undivided attention and watch how it transforms your results. Successful people understand the power of focus. They don't multitask. They don't spread themselves thin. They work on one thing at a time, giving it their full energy and attention. And when they're done, they move on to the next. Multitasking is a myth. It's like trying to chase two rabbits at once. You won't catch either. Focus is the key to momentum, and momentum is the key to winning. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, that it's easier said than done. And you're right, it takes discipline. It takes saying no to things that don't align with your goals, even if they're tempting or seem urgent. It takes being honest about where your time is going and being willing to change old habits. But here's the reward. When you start saying no to the things that don't matter, you can start saying yes to the things that do. One of the most powerful tools for a prioritization is reflection. At the end of each day, ask yourself, did I spend my time on what mattered most today? If the answer is no, don't get discouraged. Get determined. Learn from it and plan tomorrow differently. Success isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Each day is a new chance to align your actions with your goals. And remember this, you can't do everything, but you can do the most important things. Don't let the trivial many crowd out the vital few. Time is your greatest asset. Use it wisely, and it will repay you in ways you can't imagine. The third way to stop wasting time and start winning is to master the discipline of decision-making. Every day, you're faced with countless choices, big and small, and each one has the potential to steer your life in a new direction. Successful people understand that their decisions shape their destiny. They know that indecision is a thief of time, and that hesitation can cost you more than a wrong choice ever could. Decision-making begins with clarity of values and goals. If you know what you stand for and what you're working toward, making decisions becomes much easier. Without this clarity, every option can feel equally valid or equally overwhelming. But when your goals are clear, you have a compass to guide you. Each decision can be measured against this question. Does this bring me closer to my goal? Or does it pull me further away? That single question can cut through confusion and help you act with purpose. Successful people understand the importance of urgency in decision-making. They don't waste time overanalyzing every possibility or seeking absolute certainty. Instead, they gather the best information they can, weigh the options, and then commit. They know that action creates momentum, and momentum is what propels you forward. Even if the decision turns out to be less than perfect, they trust in their ability to adapt, learn, and course correct along the way. Procrastination, on the other hand, is the enemy of winning. It's the silent killer of dreams. How often do we delay a decision, telling ourselves we need more time, more information, or a better moment? The truth is, most of the time, we're simply avoiding the discomfort of commitment. But here's the thing, not deciding is a decision. It's a decision to stay where you are, to let opportunities pass you by, and to trade progress for the illusion of safety. Successful people don't fall into this trap. They act decisively, knowing that even a less than perfect decision is better than no decision at all. They trust their judgment, not because they believe they'll always be right, but because they know that progress is made through action, not hesitation. They understand that every step forward, even a misstep, brings them closer to clarity and success. Now, you might be thinking, what if I make the wrong decision? And it's a fair question. But here's the truth. The only truly wrong decision is the one you don't make. Mistakes are part of the journey. They're how you learn, grow, and refine your path. Successful people don't fear mistakes. They embrace them. They see them as feedback, not failure. And they use that feedback to make better decisions in the future. Decision-making requires courage. It's easy to choose what's comfortable, familiar, or safe. But winning often requires you to step into the unknown, to take a risk, and to trust in your ability to handle whatever comes next. Successful people have the courage to make bold decisions, knowing that greatness lies outside their comfort zone. They're willing to bet on themselves and their vision, even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. A key part of effective decision-making is learning to say no when it's needed. And it's needed at times. Every yes is a no to something else, and successful people understand this trade-off. They don't say yes out of obligation, fear, or the desire to please others. They say yes to what aligns with their goals and no to everything that doesn't. This discipline protects their time, energy, and focus, ensuring that they're always moving in the right direction. Another tool that successful people use is reflection. They don't just make decisions and move on, they evaluate the outcomes. They ask themselves what worked, what didn't, and what they could do differently next time. This habit of reflection turns every decision into a learning opportunity, sharpening their judgment and improving their future choices. Decision-making is about trust, not just trusting your instincts, but trusting the process. Sometimes you won't have all the answers. Sometimes the path ahead will be unclear. But successful people move forward anyway. They trust that clarity will come with action, that their intuition will guide them, and that their resilience will carry them through any challenges that arise. It's important to recognize that not every decision needs to be made in isolation. Successful people seek wisdom from those who are doing better than them. They understand that two perspectives are often better than one, and that seeking guidance is a sign of strength, not weakness. But here's the key. They don't let advice paralyze them. They take input, make their decision, and own it fully. At its core, decision-making is about taking responsibility for your life. It's about recognizing that every choice you make, big or small, shapes your future. Successful people don't leave their lives to chance or circumstance. They take control through the power of decisive action, trusting in their ability to adapt, learn, and grow along the way. The discipline of decision-making is one of the most powerful ways to stop wasting time and start winning. It's not about being perfect or always getting it right. It's about having the courage to choose, the wisdom to learn, and the determination to keep moving forward. When you master this habit, you unlock the ability to create a life of purpose, progress, and success. Next, the fourth way to stop wasting time and start winning is to build a fortress around your focus. In a world full of distractions, focus has become a rare and precious resource. It's the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Successful people know this. They don't just hope to find focus, they cultivate it, protect it, and use it as a tool to achieve their goals. Focus starts with clarity. If you don't know what you're aiming for, it's easy to get pulled in 100 different directions. Think of your attention as a spotlight. When it's diffused, it lights up a large area but lacks intensity. When it's concentrated, it can illuminate or even burn through a single point. Successful people use focus to channel their energy into what matters most, eliminating anything that doesn't serve their purpose. We've already talked about one of the first steps to protecting your focus. Sometimes you have to say no, because every yes you give to something unimportant is a no to something that truly matters. Time and energy are finite, and successful people treat them as valuable assets. They don't say yes out of guilt, obligation, or fear of disappointing others. They say yes strategically and no firmly, creating the space they need to focus on their priorities. Distractions are the enemy of focus, and they come in many forms. They're not just external, like interruptions or noise. They're internal, like self-doubt or overthinking. Successful people take steps to eliminate both. They create environments that support deep work. They practice mindfulness and self-awareness to manage internal distractions like fear or perfectionism that can derail their focus. Another key to maintaining focus is setting boundaries around your time. Successful people don't allow others to dictate their schedules. They carve out blocks of time for their most important work and protect those blocks fiercely. They understand that focus requires uninterrupted time, and they're willing to make the necessary adjustments to create it. A morning routine can be a powerful tool for building focus. Successful people often begin their day with activities that sharpen their minds and set the tone for productivity. These habits prime their brains for the day ahead, helping them start strong and maintain momentum. To maintain focus, it's important to work in cycles. The human brain isn't designed to focus indefinitely. Successful people use techniques like the Pomodoro method or work in 90-minute cycles, taking short breaks to recharge. These breaks aren't distractions. They're intentional resets that help sustain high levels of concentration over the long haul. Single tasking is another hallmark of focus. While many people pride themselves on multitasking, successful people understand that dividing attention dilutes quality. They commit fully to one task at a time, giving it their best effort before moving on to the next. This approach not only produces better results, but reduces the mental fatigue that comes from constant switching. Focus is about managing energy. It's not just about how much time you spend working, but how effectively you use that time. Successful people understand their natural rhythms, when they're most alert and when their energy dips, and they schedule their most demanding tasks accordingly. They reserve their peak hours for their highest priorities, ensuring that they bring their best selves to their most important work. Focus isn't something you can sustain by willpower alone. It requires systems and routines that support it. Successful people automate decisions where they can, like what to eat for breakfast or when to exercise, so they can save their mental energy for more important choices. They set up systems for accountability. Reflection is another practice that reinforces focus. At the end of each day or week, successful people take the time to evaluate how they spent their time and energy. They ask themselves what worked, what didn't, and what they can do differently. This habit of reflection helps them refine their approach and ensures that their focus remains aligned with their goals. Ultimately, focus is about being present. It's about fully engaging with the task at hand. Successful people understand that divided attention leads to divided results. By cultivating focus, they bring their full energy and creativity to everything they do, making every effort count. Focus is not just a skill, it's a discipline. It's the ability to tune out the noise, prioritize what truly matters, and commit fully to your vision. When you build a fortress around your focus, you stop wasting time on distractions and start channeling your energy into meaningful action. This is how you win. Not by working harder, but by working with purpose and precision. Next, the fifth way to stop wasting time and start winning is to cultivate the discipline of consistency. If focus is the bridge to success, consistency is the vehicle that gets you across. It's the quiet, unglamorous, day in and day out commitment to doing the right things, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, and even when the results aren't immediately visible. Successful people understand that consistency is what separates the dreamers from the doers. Consistency begins with showing up. Too many people wait for motivation to strike before they take action. They want to feel inspired, energized, or ready before they move forward. Successful people know that waiting for the perfect mood is a losing game. They act first, trusting that motivation will follow. They don't let feelings dictate their efforts. They let their commitments guide them. This simple but profound habit transforms aspirations into achievements. The secret to consistency lies in small, repeatable actions. Grand gestures and Herculean efforts might make headlines, but it's the little things done regularly that create lasting change. Consider the difference between saving $10 a day and waiting to invest a large sum of money. Over time, those small daily deposits compound into significant results. Successful people understand this principle and apply it to every area of their lives. Consistency is often misunderstood as rigidity, but it's not about doing the same thing the same way forever. It's about staying aligned with your goals while remaining flexible in your approach. Successful people adapt their methods as circumstances change, but they never lose sight of their destination. If one path is blocked, they find another, but they keep moving forward. Habits are the foundation of consistency. Successful people invest time in creating routines that support their goals. These routines remove the need for constant decision-making and make it easier to stay on track. Over time, the habit becomes automatic, requiring less effort to maintain. Another critical aspect of consistency is tracking your progress. When you measure your efforts, you create accountability, both to yourself and to others. Successful people use tools like journals, charts, or accountability partners to monitor their actions and results. This tracking not only keeps them honest, but provides tangible proof of progress, which fuels motivation to keep going. Discipline is the muscle behind consistency. It's the ability to stick to your commitments, even when the initial excitement wears off. Successful people view discipline not as a restriction, but as a form of freedom, the freedom to stay aligned with their values and vision. They train their discipline by starting small, building on their successes and celebrating their wins, no matter how modest. Consistency requires patience. In a world that prizes instant gratification, patience has become a rare virtue. Many people abandon their efforts when results don't come quickly. But successful people understand that progress often takes time. They trust the process, knowing that their efforts will eventually pay off. This long-term perspective allows them to stay the course while others give up. The ability to maintain consistency during setbacks is another hallmark of success. Life will throw obstacles in your path, and how you respond determines your trajectory. Successful people don't let a missed day, a failed attempt, or an unexpected challenge derail their efforts. They see these moments as temporary disruptions, not permanent defeats. They pick them up where they left off, recommitting to their goals with renewed determination. Consistency thrives on clarity. When you know what you're working toward and why it matters, it's easier to stay consistent. Successful people anchor their actions in a strong sense of purpose. They remind themselves of their why when motivation wanes or distractions arise. This connection to their deeper purpose keeps them grounded and focused, even during difficult times. The rewards of consistency go beyond the tangible. It builds confidence, resilience, and self-respect. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you prove to yourself that you're capable and trustworthy. This creates a positive feedback loop where consistency strengthens belief in your abilities, and that belief fuels further consistency. Consistency is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's about pacing yourself, managing your energy, and committing to the long haul. Successful people understand that true success is not achieved overnight, but through steady, persistent effort. They embrace the journey, finding satisfaction not just in the results, but in the process of growth and improvement. When you cultivate the discipline of consistency, you transform wasted time into meaningful progress. You create momentum that propels you forward, even when the road gets tough. This is how you stop spinning your wheels and start building the life you want. Consistency isn't flashy or dramatic, but it's the quiet force that drives extraordinary success. Winning in life doesn't come from grand gestures or occasional bursts of effort. It's the result of the small decisions you make every single day. The way you choose to spend your time, the way you guard your focus, and the way you align your actions with your goals, these are the things that shape your destiny. Success isn't reserved for a lucky few. It's a deliberate process of making better choices and consistently following through. Every moment you spend is an investment in something. The question is, what are you investing in? Are you building a foundation for the future you desire? Or are you scattering your energy on distractions and fleeting comforts? The beauty of time is that it's always moving forward, and every second offers you a fresh opportunity to realign, refocus, and recommit to the things that truly matter. The process isn't about perfection. It's about direction. When you make it your mission to improve how you manage your time, you start creating a life filled with purpose and progress. You begin to notice how every action, no matter how small, adds up. The compound effect of consistent, intentional effort transforms your days, your mindset, and ultimately, your results. It's a shift in mindset that makes all the difference. When you start viewing time as your most valuable resource, you treat it with respect. You stop letting distractions dictate your schedule and start creating a rhythm that serves your goals. You become less reactive and more intentional, less scattered and more focused. And with each passing day, you see how much more is possible when you take control. Winning is about more than achieving a single goal. It's about living in a way that reflects your values, builds your confidence, and strengthens your sense of purpose. It's about growing into the person who can consistently make choices that align with a vision for a better future. When you focus on the principles of time mastery, you don't just get more done, you become more. And that, above all, is what winning truly means.